trading week. Very sorry that I wasn't active at all last week, but I'm moving overseas to London in 2 weeks, and everything has been extremely sort of hectic. So I've just sort of been trying to get some bits and pieces together for that. But the first pair that I'm looking at this week is Audchf. Excuse me, which I was actually looking at last week, but because we broke out of this ascending trend quite impulsively, I didn't think we'd really see a pullback to the trend and to a fib level, and I also wanted to see a hard enough pullback that I would know that that was the bottom in order to sort of place my fib. So this is the setup that I'm looking at. I'll quickly run you through it in terms of what I see, patterns and things like that. We can see here a W formation formed on the weekly, down, up, down, up. We do generally expect to see some kind of retracement, and I know it doesn't go quite to the highs of this, but you can still see the pattern occurring here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of extremely bullish momentum from the flash crash, and we've finally broken out of this trend as well. That red candle is quite engulfing, and there is quite a lot of movement there. So that's the first thing I looked at. Second thing is just the trend that it was in. Now what I can also see is an inverse head and shoulders. If we look at it like this, if we look at left shoulder here, head, and then the right shoulder. Now we did break the neckline. Obviously this being the neckline, we did break the neckline and we did retest, and this is a retest of that neckline, but we can see here that we failed to make anything higher, and in fact we just crashed straight through that small trend line. The reason I didn't draw the trend from here was obviously because that was the flash crash, and I don't really consider that as valid market structure. That's just me personally. Obviously everybody will have a different take on that, which is absolutely fine, but me personally, I don't like to use that as the proper market structure, so I've gone a little bit further up just to the wick of this candle here. So failed to sort of break that inverse the inverse head and shoulders, or it did break, but with the retest of the neckline it didn't go any higher, and then we broke through. Now we can also see here smaller term time frame. On the daily we can actually see left shoulder, head, that's a break, we'll get a retest, and then I expect to see continuation to the downside, and that is a head and shoulders pattern there as well. So how I got entry, head to the 4 hour, once again we do have that break of the trend, and I do have a valid place to draw my fibs from now. I simply drew that, as I said, put between the 50 and the 61.8, as I have mentioned in my previous videos. That's generally a pretty safe place to be looking. Having said that though, even on the 38 we can see quite a little bit of market structure here as well. I don't expect that we're going to get to here during the Asian session. I would expect that if we do get to that, it will be during London. The session's only literally just opened here. So I do expect to hit that in London, and that will give us a retest of that trend line as well. The head and shoulders, and then I'll expect to put it, chase it down to at least this, negative 27 mark, and then potentially a little bit further as well. So with what I'm looking at, as I said, fib between the 50 and the 60. I can put the first target here. I can delete that fib. And then essentially how I got my entry, guys, is just look for as many closes as you can in that area. And you can see here this is resistance. It broke here, support, and then we'll expect to see that as resistance as well. So 71, I might change that to 71,850 potentially, just a little bit of a cleaner sort of number, but that's where I'll expect to take my my entry. And if I take it around here, I can look to have, if I go to the 1 hour, there's not going to be a whole lot of market structure here because it was a really impulsive movement down. But if I put that there, that was my target. I can even have say 35 pips And then once again, to be able to hit that, it has to break, the price has to break a really strong level of support and resistance. It has to break a whole number of 7,200, and it also has to break that trend line as well. So my stops will be somewhere around there. Obviously risk to reward is almost 1 to 5, so that's a really good trade. This is just the first trade that I've seen, guys, so I'll obviously post more as the week continues. But once again, if you did find any value from this, please like, comment some feedback and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.